morning, my darlings. Welcome to a new vlog. Happy Sunday. I hope you're having a lovely weekend so far. This is going to be the world's quickest turnaround vlog. I am very to the bone with filming, editing, uploading and publishing since we got back from holiday. It's currently Friday, so we are very real time with this vlog. Today it is blue skies, perfect, starting with a weather report as always. But is it Storm Eunice or something? It is a very, very strong, stormy, windy day today. Our house is a very, what's the expression? Overstimulating house. During a storm we get wind coming in through the chimneys, everything feels like it's rattling and shaking, everything is very noisy. So even though I'm inside, I can still feel the effects of the storm. Speaking of storms, first random tangent of the day, I watched the film Twister on the way back from our holiday, and I've always weirdly loved kind of end of the world. I know a tornado is not the end of the world, well, it's, yeah, a huge thing, but I've always loved kind of geographical drama and yeah, end of the world type films. So I watched Twister, the new version, on the plane on the way back, and ever since then I have been weirdly obsessed with tornadoes. Why do we as humans have, like, why are we drawn to disaster? Like, why do murder documentaries fascinate us? Why do things about tsunamis and volcanoes and tornadoes, why is it so fascinating, and why do we find it's like squeezing a spot, isn't it? Because you know that it's an awful thing and yet you're fascinated by it. I don't know if you can compare tornadoes to squeezing a spot, but anyway, I've been watching so many tornado videos on YouTube. It's just, yeah, and now we've got a storm of our own here. I don't know if I actually believe this, but I'm sure it was a National Geographic video that said the UK actually gets the most tornadoes out of anywhere in the world. I don't know if I believe that, but they're so mild. They're like, I don't know, like a little gust, but technically we get the most. I don't know. All I know is that I could not live in like Kansas or Oklahoma because I would be petrified. These things are petrifying. Anyway, that was a really random digression to start the vlog. Welcome to a new video. Because of this storm, we're just going to be literally hunkering down, although we do have to head out in a second because I have to take my babies to the vets. They have not been to the vets in a little while, too long, and Dickie in particular, I know that he's going to need some teeth taking out, my poor sweet angel baby. So we're taking them to a local vet's in like 10 minutes or so. And what do I want to do today? We've got a couple of calls as well and a nice hearty soup for lunch, but I also want to do a little bit of seed organising. I don't think I'm going to sow any seeds in January. I think that there are seeds that you can sow in January, but I still think it's just too cold, and I don't want to get carried away this year, so I'm just going to do a little bit of garden organising. I want to unbox our new reformer machine, which is really exciting, and I'll show you that and I'll explain why I chose that particular one. But yeah, anyway, welcome to a brand new vlog. I've got my matcha to fuel me up this morning in my little brew cup, and I'm gonna head to the vets now. But I actually filmed some clips over the last 48 hours during a little staycation that I had in London. I had a few meetings, a few events, a few little pampery bits, new nails, spoiler alert, because I don't think I actually show you after the treatment. This is the shade 𝑭𝒊𝒏𝒅, I believe, from Biosculpture. And it was a treatment with L'Occitane to celebrate their world's best, in my opinion, hand cream. So that was a really gorgeous experience. But anyway, less chatting about it. Let's whiz back in time and I'll show you what I got up to in London. Hello my darlings, it is Wednesday afternoon. I have just arrived into London. I walked from Marylebone to the Strand, to the 𝑚𝒇 Hotel, which is where I am staying tonight. Nice to get that walk in, a little bit chaotic at times, trying to meander through Oxford Street with a suitcase, but made it, checked in. I've stayed at this hotel before, I think definitely pre-COVID, years ago, possibly during Fashion Week. The location is amazing, very kind of sleek and minimal rooms, but exactly what I need for the location of tonight's dinner, which is with Currentbody. Really, really excited for that. But I've got a couple of bits and bobs on in London this afternoon and lots of things on in London tomorrow, so it's really nice to have a base camp while I'm here. I am heading now in a minute, over to Neko Health because hopefully it's nothing to worry about, but they actually requested that I come in for a follow-up appointment based on the scan that they took of my moles. So I don't know if they want to take a closer look at something, but I thought it was an incredible experience when I first went to Neko Health. It's incredible value in my opinion. It's £300 for a full body scan. They do the blood tests, they do the mole checking, they check loads of your biomarkers. It's all with a longevity focus. And I know that a mole scan can cost almost that much in lots of places, so you get so much information and it's literally like healthcare from the future. It's a really, really cool place in Marylebone. Then I'm heading to a nail studio that I can't quite remember the name of. It's one that I haven't been to before. For a manicure with L'Occitane. We are celebrating their shea butter range, which is a range I'm a huge fan of. I think I've got their cuticle oil in here somewhere from that range, which would actually, although someone commented on one of my videos saying it's not ideal to put cuticle oil on before a manicure because it can moisten the nail beds too much apparently, so I think we'll save all of that pampering for after the mani. Then we've got the panel talk and dinner with Currentbody, and then I'll fall into bed. Tonight's going to be the night that I battle and overcome my jet lag. I've been giving into it up until today. Charlie and I have been going up to bed at around 8 p.m. and I've been waking up at 4:30, 5 every morning. So tonight, obviously with the event, means I'll be later to bed, so this will hopefully push me out of my jet lag habits, which is great. I stopped at a new to me coffee place on the way down here called Arrow. I was beelining for Blank Street, but I was like, oh, that's a new one, and I noticed that they had a pistachio croissant, so I'm gonna have half of this now, and I'll probably have half of it as a little bit of a midnight snack. Is there pistachio inside it too? Oh no, it's just a regular, oh, it feels really like fresh. It's a regular butter croissant, but with pistachio cream on top. That's very good. So I'm just currently debating whether I can actually be bothered to do anything with my hair tonight. I'm very, very lazy with my hair, and I actually haven't put anything heated on it in the whole year, in the whole of 2025. So I might actually just leave it in a bun tonight. I've got a nice dress. I don't think it's going to be like a mega swanky event. Well, I don't know, I'm not sure. I'm getting my hair coloured tomorrow, so it'll be on good hair duty from tomorrow. But yeah, I think instead of putting heat in it, I'm just going to keep it up in a bun. Also, as it's a dinner, I just don't like eating with my hair down. I find it too overstimulating. But anyway, I am rambling now. I think what I'm gonna have to do, because of how close all of my timings are together now, is I'm gonna have to pop on my outfit for tonight now and take a change of shoes with me in my handbag. So today I have been wearing just a Lily silk cashmere roll neck, and in this bright light you can actually see the line of my thermal underneath. Never mind. And then I've got this lovely suede skirt on, which is from Me and M, and I bought another skirt to wear tomorrow, but to be honest, I've only worn this outfit really to get into London, so I think I'll just wear this exact thing again tomorrow. But I'll show you in a second my dress for tonight. Okay, so part one of the outfit, it looks black, but it's actually dark brown. This beautiful dress. I haven't done up the bow at the back yet because I'm actually going to pop on a jumper before the event for my prior meetings. So it's just really beautiful with a kind of knitted top, and then it goes into a silky skirt. Absolutely love this. I've had it for a couple of years from Reese. And then I'll change out of my boots. I'm wearing my Fairfax and Favour boots, at the moment, which have been great for stomping around, but I'm going to take my Dior heels with me, and I'm going to pop on this lovely cape style knit, which sold out really quickly from other stories, but I'll see if it's back in stock anywhere, because I know that loads of you absolutely loved this when I wore it last time. Last time I wore it was actually for that afternoon tea that Charlie and I and Lila went to at 𝑭𝒉𝒂𝒕. Hang on, this requires concentration. It's one of those jumpers where there's quite a few areas that your arms or your head could go, so it's a bit confusing. Okay, my head needs to go through there. But then, hang on, my head also needs to go through here. Oh no, this is when I need a shower cap. Luckily they've got one here. Top tip, put a shower cap over your face if you're faffing about with light coloured jumpers and you've got some makeup on. This is good. This is like that kind of material, not plastic. Lol. Although I can't see. Oh, I wouldn't try that at home. Okay, we're in though. It was worth it. Do you know what? I might actually leave this cape on for the dinner. I'll see how smart everybody else is. And unless everyone else is really, really smart, I might actually keep it on. Okay, hair redone. So this is the outfit with the jumper. I just think there's something a little bit more elegant about the cape rather than just a regular knit, and then when I switch up my shoes later it's going to be perfect. So that's the outfit. I've just realized if they need to scan me again at Neko Health, I've got to take this off and do it all over again. So I'm going to take my hair cap, shower cap with me. So without further ado, let's get going. And I love that I actually brought a tripod with me, but you guys have just been on my Beauty Pie powder, my ocean bottle water bottle, and also my Stanley little lunch flask. Charlie made a delicious gnocchi last night and we didn't finish it all, so I brought some with me for my lunch on the train, which was lovely. And I've also got a torch with me because I won't be able to see getting back to the hotel later tonight, so that's coming along too. So tucked away off Marylebone High Street, Neko Health, literally your health centre of the future. Okay, my darlings, we are back to real time. I hope you enjoyed that little whiz through my time in London. My skin is great today after the Hydrafacial, and Bernie always does my hair in such a nice natural way. It doesn't grow out really harshly. It looks like a hair color that suits my natural kind of skin tone. It's just the best. The team there are, in my opinion, the greatest if you are looking for blonde or a fabulous haircut. So Bernie and Lamfan at Michael Van Clark are who I would highly recommend asking for. So home again. The babies were very well behaved in the vets. They always get quite nervous, but after a few cuddles they're absolutely fine, and they're going to be even happier in a moment because we've had their favourite kind of delivery, which is a different dog delivery. And this one, I'll move you around here so that we can actually have a little unbox session together, because in here are a selection of new 𝑇𝑟𝒂𝒕s for the babies. So Different Dog is the brand of dog food that we give Dexy and Dicky for their breakfast and dinner, and they absolutely love it. It's very important to Charlie and I that what we consume and what the dogs consume is super high quality, and a Different Dog is literally the best of the best. I even tried some of it in December, you might remember that in Vlogmas, and let me tell you, it's delicious. They use real ingredients, whether it's lamb or like a chicken hot pot or a venison, you know, really top quality ingredients that are really, really good for our babies. But they've created a few new treats and also a new doggy supplement, which I'm really excited to try out. So they're Love Your Digestion treats. These are limited edition, and they're these adorable little heart-shaped treats, which are rosehip and fenugreek flavour. I love that it says approved by 𝑭𝒊𝒏𝒅. A little picture of Roger on the front there. Rosehip is fantastic for so many things. For humans, the tea that I drink is a rosehip and elderberry infusion. It's fantastic for heart health, for anti-inflammation, for joints, for skin, and I'm sure it has many similar benefits for the doggies. Did you hear that? That was the wind. And just like Charlie and I don't really like to have ultra-processed snacks for us, we also like to ensure that our doggies' snacks are also the best quality that they can be. So can't wait to see what they think of these. They are, as I mentioned, limited edition, probably for Valentine's Day, I'm guessing, from the heart-shaped treaties. What else have we got in here? Fish sticks made from 100% white fish skin for a satisfying crunch. Supports dental health, brain and eye development, high protein, low fat treats, and aiding in joint mobility apparently, which is very good for my doggies as they're not getting any younger. And then this is what I'm really excited to try today. This is called the GOAT. Greatest of all time. I actually only realized when people said that someone was the GOAT at something that it meant GOAT, greatest of all time. I was so confused by that expression for so long. But this is a natural goat's milk topper, and I think what it's going to be is like a little white powder, and you can sprinkle it on top of their meals. If you've got any fussy doggies, ours can be, although they normally wolf down their Different Dog dinner, you can sprinkle this on top and it makes it even more delicious for them. But also the goat's milk is a digestive support, good for immune boosting, protects joints, extra hydration. So basically like a supplement to add to your doggy's dinner, which I think is such a fantastic idea. And then we've just got a few of their traditional favourites in here. These were the ones that I decided to try out in December, and I can confirm they're absolutely delicious. But the treats, you can also get the doggy bone broth from Different Dog, and of course their meals, which I will show you in case you don't remember. They come in these pouches, and just like HelloFresh or Riverford, you can choose the dishes that your doggies want to have that week. This is probably their favourite. It's the perfect picnic flavour, and it's incredibly fresh dog food. It arrives frozen. You defrost it the night before you want to give it to them. This is probably 3 days worth of dog food in here, and yeah, they just absolutely love it. So while I prepare their brunch with the GOAT goat milk topper. As a little reminder, 𝑭𝒊𝒏𝒅 is a discount code that A Different Dog have so generously provided, and that gets you 40% off your first 2 boxes, and I'll leave a link for that in the description box down below. Now I've got 2 boys looking at me very wishfully, so let's make their brunch. If you're wondering why they're eating so late, by the way, it's because 𝑑exy has a tendency to get a little bit car sick in journeys, so we just gave them a tiny bit of food for their breakfast. Oh, you lucky boys. You're such lucky boys. What's Mummy got for her babies? What's Mummy got for her babies? Oh, you lucky little boys. You lucky little boys. Is that nice? Oh, Mummy, it's so tasty. We would just like to let our fellow fussy sausages know that this goat supplement is exceptionally tasty, and we're a big fan, and we've heard it's going to be really good for our mobility. You see, fellow sausage friends, it's January, you know, it's flu season, and we like to take our immune boosting supplements. Oh, you funny boys. You might be thinking, Josie, those flowers look really dead. They are actually a week old. I got these when we got back from our holiday, but I don't like any flowers going to waste, so I'm just picking out the ones which are not so dead, and I'm just going to put them in some bud vases. These are mini narcissus, like little mini daffodils, and they are the most fragrant flowers in the whole world. They smell so good. Just if you walk past them in the kitchen, then you just get a waft of gorgeousness. So I'm going to try and find some which are not dead. But yeah, they lasted quite well considering they're a light coloured flower. Normally light coloured blooms don't survive quite as long. 𝑑exy and Dicky have completely polished off their food, which is good to see. And I was just listening to the news while I was doing a little bit of editing upstairs, and Storm Airwin, I remember it sounded like Air One, it's Storm Airwin that we've got at the moment. There have actually been tornadoes reported in the north of the UK and in Northern Ireland, which is crazy considering what I was saying before. Apparently we get 30 to 50 tornadoes in the UK every single year, but normally obviously they're not that strong. But yeah, this one is a once in a generation storm apparently. There were actually quite a few trees on the road, on the lane as we were driving to the gym this morning, but we're quite lucky here. We've not had anything too severe. Obviously you heard it blowing through the house earlier, and last night our bedroom, it is so loud in there. But it feels quite cozy, and on days like this I just kind of want to stay inside and maybe do a little bit of baking. So I'm going to see if I've got the ingredients to make some banana muffins. My cake stand over there is looking very, very empty, so I think that would be a nice thing to do. There we go, it's better than nothing. Just a couple of little posy glasses from my dying bouquet. So we've actually got a little pause in the wind at the moment. Oh, she says that, and we're just about to get another gust. But it's actually a really, really beautiful afternoon. The sun is just going down over the hill over there, but it's nice and bright. And I thought I'd show you a few little areas of loveliness in the garden at this time of year. A garden job that we've just finished off is the mulching. So mulching is adding a layer of nourishment and protection to your borders. This is our currently very sleepy herbaceous border. Got this nice rich layer of mulch now added, and you can see some of the bulbs are starting to come through already. But something that I love at this time of year are the hellebores, and we've got them in the troughs. They're just such a lovely flower, and definitely I would say the most beautiful flower that's out at this time of year. Look at that. Something a little bit anemone-esque about them, which is probably why I love them so much. And we've also got them in this lovely kind of purple colour over here by the doorway, alongside some of the herbs. If we need some rosemary, then it's literally just here outside the door. You right there, my 𝑑exy? The euphorbia is still looking good. The 𝑭𝒊𝒏𝒅s have been trimmed. 𝑭𝒊𝒏𝒅 is a little bit of colour at this time of year. Ooh, it is quite chilly. But yeah, still a very sleepy time of year in the garden, but it won't be long until we can get planting. These are the bulbs that I planted up last week. These have come along really well. You can see how they're coming out of the moss now. And I'm going to bring this one into the house because it's come into flower. And as a narcissus, it will be smelling absolutely beautiful. Kitchen island counter for a little bit of spring, oh my goodness, maybe that's a little bit optimistic, for a little bit of garden joy in the kitchen. So I've just turned the oven on because I want to make some banana bread muffins. I noticed that we've got some ripe bananas, which is obviously the key ingredient in a banana bread. And I had a meeting yesterday with Wild Nutrition, and Naomi was saying how one of their chefs was just putting collagen in cakes. So I thought I would put a spoonful of my Wild Nutrition collagen in the banana muffins, just as a nice little healthy touch. But I'm also going to be adding in chocolate. These are, I think they're 100% cacao. I actually get them on Amazon, and they just add obviously the most amazing flavour. I'm going to do the whole thing in my Thermomix because it just makes everything so much easier. But if you've got a stand mixer or a hand mixer, you can do it with that as well. So 2 bananas, or if they're not particularly big, then you might want 3. And I'm just going to chop them up in here. If you're doing this by hand, you could use a fork or obviously a potato masher or something just to mash these up. I'm also going to be adding cinnamon, a little bit of nutmeg, obviously butter, couple of eggs, sugar, and some honey into this recipe for a little bit of extra sweetness. And then you need some butter, some milk, and some vanilla extract as well. First of all, let's mash up the banana. There we go, my bananas have chopped down. Now I'm going to add in 80 grams of butter. You can use salted or unsalted. If you use unsalted, I would add a pinch of salt. My butter is salted, so I don't need to. So 80 grams going in here, and we're going to melt that down. Again, you could do this by hand if you don't have a Thermomix. So I took out the mashed banana, didn't bother cleaning the bowl, added my butter, and that's now melted down. So I'm going to add in a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Got this organic one, again from Amazon. I think I've got a bakery section of my storefront, which I'll leave linked down below. So about a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then you want to add in a teaspoon of either honey or maple syrup. Honey's just a little bit easier. Sorry, maple syrup's just a little bit easier to pour, so I'm going to use maple syrup. And then 125 grams of whole milk, whole as opposed to light or skimmed. And we'll mix those ingredients together. And while it's mixing, I'll add a couple of eggs in at the top.
Only using a couple of eggs, aren't you?
Just 2. Charlie's had a delivery from 𝑑𝒉𝒅
Best kind of delivery.
while I've been doing my baking.
Oh, look at that.
Ooh.
So do you know what this is?
It looks like gin.
No, well, it is 𝑑𝒉𝒅's. It's called Botanique. Inspired by the grounds at Château 𝑙𝑎𝑦𝑗.
Yeah.
And it's 𝑑𝒉𝒅's non-alcoholic. So
No way.
non-alcoholic botanical spirit.
Oh, wowee.
So it is, they recommend obviously having it, or they've got a deep winter tonic, which would be honey syrup, clear honey, this, and some water.
Oh, as a tonic?
First make the syrup, yeah, but obviously you can have this with tonic water.
That's a good idea.
So instead of a gin and tonic, we've got water, we've got lemon, we've got green cardamom, sweet orange. Lovely.
Very
I'm
nice.
looking forward to trying that. It's a nice bottle as
And they've
well.
put the other ingredients in there for you.
Well, I guess these are to have with the, with the honey syrup, clear honey, yeah.
That's such a nice idea.
Lemon. Nice organic lemons, to be honest.
Looked quite nice with the leaf on.
Yeah, I know, but the leaf is going all crispy. What else is in here? I think there might be some tonic in here. That's a really nice. Oh, it's a blue tonic.
Oh.
Talk to me. What's that then? Oh no, it's just the bottle.
It's just the bottle.
That's clever, yeah. Nice. I know this has got ginseng, dandelion, and tonic water.
Ooh.
I might have one of those this evening to celebrate the end of the week.
Very
Thank
nice.
you, 𝑑𝒉𝒅. Really exciting to try that.
Yay.
Awesome.
And you said that you might sit down and do like a long form video about your alcohol-free journey, right?
Yeah,
on your channel.
Yeah, I always get lots of messages on Instagram around January time, because it is a time that people tend to give up alcohol.
Yeah.
And do you know what? I guess increasingly I'm a little bit against January being a month to give up alcohol. I think,
because it's such a miserable month.
Yeah, I think any drastic change is tricky, and I think if you're going to make a drastic health change, maybe set a longer period of easing into it rather than going from 0 to 100.
Yeah.
Look, if you've got issues with alcohol, then obviously you need to give it up. If you're just trying to give up alcohol, I would actually normally start with giving up alcohol Monday to Friday and then working your way from there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm thinking of doing a video, I guess, on my alcohol journey. I'm not going to go into. I'll be an honest video. I'll share. You know, I had some pretty shocking experiences growing up that were warning signs for my journey. I'm 5.5 years in. I think probably moving here was one of the biggest changes that helped me. But I was only a year sober when we moved here.
Yeah.
And I was still struggling at that point.
Yeah.
Whereas now I don't even think about it.
No, it's amazing actually, isn't it?
But then to be honest, even when I first started having non-alcoholic beers, I'd find myself having 3 or 4. Now I'll have one and that satisfies me, and I don't even think about it. Now every single person is different.
Yeah.
But maybe I can share some tips. And as I say, I don't think you have to have the issues that I had to maybe...
So many people are doing it for health reasons.
I mean, look, I take for granted the health benefits.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of people say to me, well, how do you stay in good shape? And I'm like, I eat healthily, and we cook a lot, and we're making even more changes this year, but we still enjoy our food.
Yeah.
I do train in the gym, but you know, I'm not as crazy in the gym as I used to be. Not drinking, I take for granted, because the calories, what it does to your body...
What it makes you do as well, like after a couple of glasses of wine, I'm like, take me to 𝑭𝒊𝒏𝒅.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I'm like that anyway, mate. I'll be like that after this. No, look, I think I never want to be preachy, and you know, I come from a family of people that love entertaining, love socialising, love drinking, and they're fine on it. Like my family are fine on it. I have got in my wider family, not only that there are a few individuals that have struggled with alcohol, and I don't know if it's genetic or not. But equally, I do think that we're in a society now where it's more acceptable.
Yeah.
So it's probably never been easier to give up alcohol, actually, in society. And I think for the listeners that are not from the UK, maybe they'll be thinking, oh, you know, in our country we don't... In the UK, we do drink to excess.
Brits are known for excessive drinking.
And actually in America, drinking is still pretty big. I would say in Europe, in France, Spain, Italy, they don't hit it as hard. Obviously, I'm being very general.
They're more sensible. They'll have a glass of wine with dinner.
Yeah, and it'll be more centred around food. So I think that's, it's interesting.
Binge drinking is a UK problem.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know in any other... Look, I love British pubs, and we share it on here a lot, don't we? As a passion, not as a business. We'd love to have a share or an ownership in a pub one day, and we'll make it happen. But there's something a bit baffling that it's so normal to have a pint.
Yeah, that's so much.
I always remember that thing in the in-betweeners where it's like, isn't it funny you have a pint? You wouldn't ask for a pint of orange squash. And it is true, like a pint of something is such a massive amount.
Yeah.
And I know the average beer is only 4 or 5%, but you know, I probably used to have
Have
on
you
average
noticed
8
in
or
the
10
last
pints.
5 years the stigma in inverted commas towards not drinking has got less?
It's difficult because obviously it becomes more normalised in your own life and then you notice it less. I definitely get asked less. I have no issue when I say, oh, I don't drink. I have no issue, so why don't you drink?
What do you say?
Well, it depends on the scenario. Like, for example, at Twickenham, one of the barmen, it was a bit of a strange one. I was really impressed when I went to Twickenham in the autumn. Really impressed because I was really annoyed last time. Previously, I went to Twickenham, and Twickenham, for anyone that doesn't know, is the England Rugby Stadium. It's probably
sponsored by Guinness, right?
Sponsored by Allianz now. It's actually called the Allianz Stadium. If this was, they have to say Allianz now on TV. It's a bit cringe, actually. But I will still be calling it the Twickenham Stadium. And yeah, it's probably the most famous rugby stadium in the world, if not alongside the Millennium, the Welsh one. Anyway, their offering this year was amazing. Guinness 0.0. Or last year, Lucky Saint on draft. Which was so refreshing. The Guinness 0.0 is out of a can. Anyway, I ordered the Guinness 0.0 with my friend, and 2 guys, classic, you know, 𝑭𝒊𝒏𝒅 𝙭, posh accent, were like, oh, you've not ordered a Guinness 0.0, have you, to the other one, because he thought it was for them. He's like, oh no, don't worry, I don't mess around with that, or something quite derogatory, and I didn't say anything.
How old were they?
40s probably.
Really?
Yeah.
So they should have known better.
Well, and I didn't say anything, but I'm stood there and I don't have an issue, you know, because they were both not in very good shape. I'm thinking, whatever, if you want to treat your body like that, fine, mate. But what was interesting was the barman said, oh, do you not drink alcohol? And I said, because I'm in that scenario, which is a bit of a masculine sort of testosterone, I said, oh, not if you want this stadium to be in one piece at the end of it, as a joke. So I might say something like that, because for full transparency, if I had a load of drinks now, I'm like the Tasmanian devil. If all is good, I'll be the life and soul of the party. But if all isn't good, I can be quite a bit of a nightmare. So, but in other situations, if we're at dinner or stuff, I'll just be honest and say I had an issue with alcohol. I wouldn't say I was an alcoholic, but then I think now in society we're appreciating that not everyone's in a box, and it's quite. There are people that will be like, I have an addiction to alcohol. I wake up every morning and think of alcohol. I never had that. Grateful that I never had that. But equally, if I had a drink, I could not stop.
Yeah.
I honestly, hand on heart, cannot tell you a time where I went into a pub with clients, for work, with friends, and had one pint and thought, I'm going to head home now. Ever in my whole life. I reckon I probably only. I can't remember a time I had 1 or 2 beers, or 1 or 2 gin and tonics or whatever, which is just, actually when you look at it from the outside, you're like, that's so unusual to just keep drinking. So anyway, but yeah, I think the questions are less now because it's more accepted.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's easy to give up alcohol, because what I would say is the peer pressures and the friendship groups, etc. People like we've been fortunate. I've changed my environment, which not everyone can do, by moving here away from London.
Yeah.
Which that definitely helped. And genuinely, I still get a bit of anxiety when I walk through Soho. I love Soho, but there's a lot of bad memories in Soho for me.
Right.
What with regards to like nights out with clients, arguments with you, like drinking, like not good stuff. Whereas also changing your friendship group has a big impact. So if you think our friendship groups now either are people that have never known me as a drinker, so they don't even question it, or they do but they respect it. And that's not to diss any friends that I don't see anymore, but me and them were not a good mix in that they wouldn't necessarily respect my decision of not drinking, and equally I would see them as people.
There was a group of immature boys that would almost like tease you and like try to get you drunk because it was almost like like prodding a bull.
We all grow out of friends, and I think that happened. But anyway, yeah. I mean, look, as I say, I don't think you have.
What would your advice be to anyone whose maybe husband is listening to this video and watching as well? Because we know that husbands watch as well. If there is a man or a woman watching and they are trying really hard to give up, but maybe from a social side they're struggling, what would your advice be?
It really is difficult because it depends on how bad it is. But I would say if it's bad enough that it's creating issues in your family and relationship, I think you actually have to go pretty hardcore to start with. And you need to say, you accept you've got a problem, and I would say I did start saying no to going out to things.
Yeah.
Because, you know, a lot of people won't want to hear that. A lot of people would say, oh, you know, don't make big sacrifices because it'd be harder. I think in a lot of situations you have to start telling people you don't drink, telling people you have an issue, because if you're in a pub and you tell a load of people you have an issue with drinking or whatever, you tell enough people. For me, actually sharing on social media helped because it makes you accountable. Yeah. Because it says, okay, I've done a year of my sobriety. Now, if I then drink the next day, I'm letting down 90,000 people on my Instagram and me. And my family and friends or whatever. Whereas before, if it's just you or you and your partner, so
it doesn't need to be a secret.
You don't need to have tens of thousands of Instagram followers. Just sharing with your family and friends and saying and telling people I'm going to do. And I don't think saying I'm going to do January no booze, because what it's saying with dietary changes, in our experience, and each to their own, everyone is different. You know, I remember when we did like a month, or I did a week or 2 weeks juice cleanse. And then the first thing I did was run out for a burger. Yeah. Because I was so hungry. Yeah. And it's just like, that doesn't really, it's all or nothing. I think for the drinking side of things, I think realistically, you need to maybe say, right, I'm going to set a target that you're not going to drink until, but maybe it's going to have to be longer than a month. Yeah. Realistically, I would say 3 months. And I would say, you know, set challenges. So for example, if you're into your fitness, or if you're not, get into fitness, because that will make not drinking a lot easier. So for example, doing a high rocks or doing a marathon or a triathlon.
That also gives you a reason. So you could say like, oh mate, why aren't you drinking? Oh, I'm training for high rocks. Then it turns the conversation to be like, oh cool, what's high rocks? Or
yeah, exactly. And then you will social. So Milo and the Bull, promote that, because if you live near Clapham, where we used to live, we love Milo and the Bull, and I think they've got 4 or 5 now in Peckham, Borough. Community, so joining a new community, so say, okay, step 1, you accept you've got a problem. Step 2, you say, right, I'm owning this. Even if you don't need to think I'm going to give alcohol forever, you're going to say, right, I'm going to take control of my alcohol, because I think some people, not me, could readjust, reconfigure, and then go back to drinking just a couple of glasses of wine or whatever and be fine. I don't want to take that risk because the positives in my life outweigh the risk. But what I'm trying to say is readjust. And if you set yourself that challenge, like mine and the ball, being around people, and then you're getting up in the morning, you've got reason to get up. So on a Friday, like for example, when your drinking issues are, most people will be Thursday or Friday night. Get PT on a Saturday, go to a gym class on a Saturday, say to your mate, let's do a workout every Saturday morning. That keeps you accountable, because you're then less likely to go out drinking. But you kind of have to fill the time with other stuff. It's not just a case of saying, I'm not going out and sitting at home and watching Netflix, because that's not going to help. And I think the other thing I would say is definitely looking at who your friendship groups are, and not necessarily going completely cold turkey, but if there are groups that you drink and go out with a lot, probably distancing yourself, and this is for people that have serious problems.
It's really hard if they're your work colleagues though.
Yeah, and I was lucky because I was changing industry during my transitioning from drinking, because if I was in sales... What would you have done
if you still worked in advertising?
Well, I'd be able to go back into sales now and not drink.
Yeah.
But it was very difficult in the...
Because it was like people that were almost your bosses that were peer pressuring you, right?
Yeah, I mean, my bosses would buy drugs and stuff like that, and
how could you ever
clients
say no to that?
Would say to me, "Are you getting some drugs in?" and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I've been, maybe I should be honest about that. I think drugs like cocaine, for example, is massive in London and in the world. And my eyes were open when I was 18.
And we're not pure to it around here either.
Apparently, it's a big problem in the Cotswolds or in the country, because people are more bored. But
or farmers, they're the ones that are like...
I don't think it's farmers. I think it's more young people that live out in rural areas. There's less to do. There's less places to go out. But anyway, look, as I say, that it's a slippery slope. So yeah, I think if you've got someone, I tell you what, the other thing is, if you're someone listening to this and you think there's someone in your life that has an issue with alcohol, I think you were very good in the end, but in the early days, I'm not digging you out, but everyone's different, again, I have to keep saying that, but telling people they've got a problem and sort of like putting it on them is not normally the way to go. Like in anything, when we learned this even recently, like to give lots of advice, but actually better off saying, this is what's working for me, this is what, rather than telling people what to do, say this is how I'm doing it, and hope that they're inspired or change their tune. So if you are, then maybe you say, well, let's do it together. Don't put it on someone. Not that you ever did, but it would be very difficult for me if you'd have been a drinker and you'd have said, you need to stop drinking, and then you're out partying. So I think you have to take it and do it as a team. And that could be your brother, your wife, your sister, your cousin, your husband. It doesn't have to be your romantic partner. Do it, help them, and create other things to do together. Because look, as I say, you've drink a lot less now as well, and you like the odd glass of champagne, the odd glass of Nightingale, the odd glass of rosé from 𝑭𝒊𝒏𝒅. But yeah, I would say that you drink a lot less, and life is more colourful, and more of our friends drink less, whether that's people that we've met because we don't drink much, or people that have been inspired by us, or inspired by the changing landscape. Even making things more about food, even silly things, like say you are someone that goes out Thursday, Friday in London and drinks, and spends 50, 60, 100 quid on booze at least, and people be scared of the amount they spend. Say, right, we're just going to spend that on food, so get river food, get organic beef.
Well, that's what I always say when I talk about organic food, like, yes, it is more expensive, but think of the amount of money that we save by not going
even in the Maldives, right? Like, the Maldives is an expensive holiday, the holiday we just come back from. Every time we get the bill at the end of the trip, we're like, phew. But then, we never know if we're going to be able to afford to go again. When we have children, we won't be able to, probably. So we're making the most of it. But equally, we were chatting to other couples, and they're like, it's so expensive with all the alcohol. And I'm like, well, we saved thousands on that holiday.
I had one drink that whole holiday, I think.
And we have the old combat. And as I say, each to their own. And we have got friends that drink, and they're fine, and they're brilliant, and they know where they stand with it. So we're not anti-alcohol, but I am definitely anti. That's partly why I've fallen out of rugby a little bit, is the drinking is just out of hand in rugby, and it is such a shame. And when we have children, I'd love to think that they can play rugby, boy or girl, but the drinking culture needs to change. A lot of our friends or people
that we know that have got teenage children, they say that they're not drinking now.
Yeah, the only worry is are they doing other things? That's the only thing. So that's the thing, and I think you've got to try alcohol, you've got to experience it. But yeah, I think, and it's just having a view and not setting. Yeah, I just think I'm just so anti giving up lots of stuff in January, February. Every year I'm increasingly anti it. We make little healthy changes, but I even said to you in November, this November, I'm going to be a bit more healthy than normal so I can enjoy Christmas. So you go into Christmas feeling in quite good shape. You enjoy Christmas, but you still keep active. This is what works for us. And then in January, you're not like completely backwards, especially as you get older, because it does become more tricky just to drop the gym and then pick it up again.
Yeah, definitely.
But anyway, there's my little alcohol tangent. But I will do a full video, and I think I'll be pretty honest in it, because we work with a lot of brands, but I think they respect the honesty. And I have no issue talking about some of the issues that I went through. And maybe that will help. Maybe it will shock people, and maybe people will be like, actually, you know, I know someone like that, or I am someone like that. And it isn't just guys. I mean, I think alcoholism with women is probably just as bad. The culture maybe is not quite as bad.
No. Well, actually, there is a flip problem with women, is that as soon as you decline a drink, it's like, oh, you're pregnant, straight away.
Yeah, which has also got to change.
Yeah, and at this age of my life, I keep finding myself being like, I'm not pregnant, but I'm going to go for the non-alcoholic option. Like, that shouldn't have to be the thing.
Yeah, well, definitely don't start saying that. Just yeah, I think
that is the stigma that women have to do with.
That's very difficult, actually. I hadn't really thought about that. But no, look, I think this is what hopefully we want this channel to be more and more about. 2025 is creating positive change and positive distraction. We're not experts. We're learning with you. I am still learning. I'm 5.5 years sober. I am still learning. I'm still, you know, I'm never going to just sit back and be like, you know, I'm the person to preach to everyone that has alcohol issues, because I'm certainly not, and everyone has other different issues. A lot of people
do look up to you, and you've done it very well, so.
But yeah, I'm happy to talk about it more. I think it's now the time that I'm more confident to. Now we're approaching 6 years, you know, or 6 years in August, so it's only 5 and a bit. But yeah, and now we look forward to time with family and food and stuff almost more. Because you don't have those issues anymore.
Very true.
A bit of a problem, but anyway, thank you, and thank you, 𝑑𝒊𝒏𝒅. This will be interesting. I think alcohol alternatives are a great option, but just a final point I would make is I actually found them to be a bit of a slippery slope in the early years. So this is obviously great for people cutting down alcohol for health generally, but if you have an issue with alcohol, my advice would be not to drink the alternatives for the first year, because what I did do on a number of occasions, and this is what I'll talk more in the video, is I gave up for 6 months, 8 months, and then actually sometimes my blips were, we'd be at a party, I'd have a couple of non-alcoholic beers and I'd go and have a real one.
Yeah, because you're in the swing of it.
Yeah, or even easier with this, because you can hide it, and you know that's when you've got a problem, you know you've got a problem when you're trying to hide things from people. Yeah. And there were Christmases. There was a Christmas in 2017, I'm sure, where I wasn't drinking, but then I started putting vodka in with tonic, so people didn't realise. So as far as you were concerned, I wasn't drinking, but I was.
I knew.
Yeah, so there you go. So that's the one little caveat with this. I'm at a point where this is really a great product. But I wouldn't recommend it if
you've got a problem.
You've got an actual problem. Deal with the problem first, and then get to a point where you can enjoy a non-alcoholic beer with friends. Yeah. It's another reason, even now, not because I think people will judge me, but like, for example, at a restaurant, I do not like it if you order it as Heineken 0.0 or a Peroni 0.0 or a Lucky Saint, and they bring it in a glass without you seeing it being poured. Because I'm never sure.
It's so good that you almost think it's the real thing.
And equally, on the flip side, if we're at an event or something, certainly for work, I don't like it when they bring it in a glass, and I know I'm not drinking, but and I'm not trying to just project and show everyone I'm not drinking, but equally there's something that makes the experience more relaxed when it's obviously not a real beer. Do you see what I mean? Yeah. Anyway, ramble. Right, I'm going to top up our logs and we're going to have a cosy evening, mate.
Lasagna. Right, cheers, mate.
Oh, what's that?
Oh, a juice.
Pink grapefruit. Oh, look,
nice.
So they brought all the, look, that's a really nice package. Didn't realise there's more in it. Is there honey in there? There might be honey, but maybe not. Yeah, there is honey.
Nice.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah? Oh, perfect.
Oh wow, it's just keep going. Look. Something else.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Okay, back to baking, and I have put in 250 grams of self-raising flour. The one that I've got in the cupboard happens to be wholemeal, which will be fine. 100 grams of caster sugar, teaspoon of baking powder, and a teaspoon of bicarb, a very heaped teaspoon of cinnamon, and my teaspoon of collagen. Oops. Whoop. Okay, let's mix it up. And now I'm just adding a couple of handfuls of my chocolate chips and one final gentle mix. Okay, the muffins are in the oven. Excuse the very blue light. It's now 20 to 5 and it's getting a little bit dark outside. So I really want to get better at being clever with my food prep. And one of the things that I am really lazy with is chopping onions, chopping garlic, and just things like making breadcrumbs. So next time I have to chop an onion, sorry, this is probably really boring, but next time I need to chop an onion, I'm going to chop 5 onions and I'm going to freeze the bits that I don't need, because then when I do need chopped onion, like, you can always use frozen chopped onion in a place of fresh onion. It's always fine. And then I only need to like wash up the chopping board and the knife once. I'm also going to do the same for garlic, and I just find that having pre-prepared things in the freezer makes my life so much easier, like the chopped banana that I prepared in the last vlog for my smoothie. I have that in the freezer, that's amazing. In fact, I might see how many bananas Charlie needs to eat tomorrow and I might just like pre-chop a load of banana and freeze it. How fun is that? And especially for things like the garlic, because I won't be able to show you tonight because we're going to have a lasagna. But next time I make my bone broth kind of garlicky, tomatoey pasta, that is the perfect opportunity for me to go to the freezer. And I've got these little mini, I mean, look how adorable these are, like little mini stasher bags. I get these on Amazon. I'll leave them linked down below. How perfect to have just a load of chopped garlic in there, and when I need a spoonful, like for my pasta recipe, I can just get a spoonful out here and not have to get out a board and get out a knife and peel the garlic and chop the garlic. So yeah, food prep and just being organized like that is something that I really want to do. But at this exact moment in time, I don't know if it's normal to put breadcrumbs on a lasagna, but I think that breadcrumbs make every baked pasta dish another level of amazingness. And I happen to have 3 little nodges of bread left that are going a little bit stale. And slightly stale bread is the best for making breadcrumbs. So I'm just going to waz it all up and then pop my breadcrumbs in a freezer bag. You don't need to defrost them, because normally most of the time when you use breadcrumbs, it's probably in a recipe, or it's probably going on top of something like a cauliflower cheese or a mac and cheese that's going to go in the oven. So they'll just defrost within a few moments in the oven, and you don't need to do any specific defrosting. So I'll blend those up, bag them up, and put them in the freezer. I was mid-sentence and then I realised that it had stopped recording, so I have no idea where we got up to. But I was just saying that if, like me, you've not got the best memory, you might also want to label your things that are frozen, because also I don't know if I'll be able to tell which is chopped garlic and which is chopped onion, so labelling is probably a great shout. or it is a non-attonda lasagna. I have to say, homemade lasagna wins every single time, but it's also very, very time consuming, and non-attonda, it's really good ingredients and most importantly super quick and easy to make and very delicious. So we've got the bechamel, I added some extra parmesan and obviously my breadcrumbs, and this is going to be our scrumptious dinner for this evening. Charlie's in charge of finding something great to watch on TV, so we'll see what he chooses, but yeah, can't wait to begin.